Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
Hey fellow Star Citizens, Scrapshed here. Welcome to Foundation Festival, which means, of course, another free fly event. The festival has already started and will go through July 17th. If you're a new player and you sign up through the free fly page, you'll have access to a whole bunch of shiny new ships. If you're an existing player, I'll show you how to gain access to some of the best ships in the verse for the next week. In this video, I'll be focusing on the 3 ships best suited for running cargo that are available during the free fly, and some routes you can try out with them giving you the potential of making several million credits in the trade loop if you're willing to grind a little. And if you're interested in playing Star Citizen, make sure to use the referral code listed here and also in the description. You'll earn additional credits of in-game money when you do. If you are a subscriber, leave a comment with your referral code. I'll randomly choose someone's referral code and promote it in my next video. I also belong to an awesome org and Discord server called Star Citizen Friends Mentoring. If you're looking for people to talk about Star Citizen with, spend time playing the game, and learning the ins and outs of Star Citizen, then check us out. The link to the Discord server is also in the description. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so to begin, if you started playing Star Citizen during the Foundation Festival, you'll have been given several ships to use for the next week or so, and you should see it in your ASOP terminal along with your starter ship. For the rest of us who have been playing for a bit longer, you need to go to the Foundation Festival page on the Roberts Space Industries website and click on the Access Free Fly link. By doing that, your account will be given the 6 ships that are available during the free fly. Easy enough, right? Now for running cargo, the Foundation Festival has gifted us with 3 ships I feel are excellent at hauling cargo. I've got all 3 sitting here with me on the lovely planet of Hurston for our review. We'll start with a quick walking tour of each, and then we'll take each of them out for a cargo run. Let's start with the smallest of the 3, which is also one of my favorite ships. But don't let me fool you, I have so many favorite ships. Anyway, we're going to look at the MISC Freelancer. This ship is awesome for the Star Citizen who is interested in a more all-around starter ship with a bend towards cargo. It is considered a light freighter with a cargo capacity of 66 SEU. It has 2 entrances, the latter on the port side, which is nice as it makes it impossible for pad pirates to sneak aboard, as well as a ramp in the rear. The ramp in my mind only has a couple of uses really. One is if you're planning on loading, say, a rock mining vehicle or a mule. The other uses for the ramp are for manually transferring cargo between ships, or if you need to bring a package or some other small object on board. Generally though, you should try to use the latter. Being the smaller of the 3, the layout is simple enough. It has a cockpit up front that seats 4, followed by a living space with beds, bathroom, and food dispenser area. Beyond that is a cargo storage. Pretty simple design. You can't really get lost working your way through this ship. Now let's take a look at the Crusader Mercury Star Runner. This ship has more storage capacity than the Freelancer, but is not available as a game package, which means you have to have purchased a ship like the RSI Aurora MR for $40 first. After that, the ship can be purchased from time to time on the Pledge Store for $260, and in-game for around 5 million credits. It is considered a medium freight ship with a hauling capacity of 114 SCU. Mercury Star Runner, or MSR as is commonly referred to, has only one entrance, and that's through the ramp in the rear. It has a significantly more complex interior over the Freelancer, but after a few runs with it, a new player should have a good understanding of its layout. The MSR has a couple of areas of note. There's a hidden section of the ship off to the right that's supposed to be used for smuggling, but will have to be for another video. As we progress through the ship, we go through the server room. One of the roles for the MSR is that of a data runner, which is a game loop that has not been implemented yet, so for right now it's just a bunch of pretty blinky lights. At this intersection you have the recreation on your left and a habitation section on your right. The recreation center consists of a nicely appointed kitchenette as well as a playable chessboard. The habitation section contains beds for the crew as well as work areas for writing home, I suppose, or maybe filling out the daily report. There are also 2 bathrooms with really cool looking doors. If you like what you're seeing and you find my content helpful in playing Star Citizen, it would be awesome if you would like this video and subscribe so others will get to see it too. And moving forward, we come to the cockpit, which seats the pilot and co-pilot. So that's the nickel tour of the MSR. Its flight characteristics aren't bad. It flies a little heavy, which you would expect. You won't be flying donuts around Hurston with it, that's for sure. It is fast though. Its main thruster is one of the more powerful in the game, being able to outrun most other ships. Now let's take a look at the elephant in the room, the Drake Caterpillar. If you're new to Star Citizen, I would certainly not stop you from flying this ship. In fact, I would encourage it for no other reason than to get an understanding of how it flies. I have one and rarely fly it other than just for fun, as it flies like a giant brick in atmosphere. The Cat, as it's affectionately called, is listed as medium freight. I don't know why, as it has the second largest cargo capacity, right after the Crusader C2 Hercules Starlifter, coming in at 576 SCU. Anyway, I'm not as comfortable with the Cat, so if I misspeak here, feel free to drop a comment and correct me. The Cat is an asymmetrical design ship with the cockpit on the port side of the ship, and the tractor beam operator console on the starboard side of the ship. Access to the Cat is via an elevator towards the rear of the ship. Once up, if you move forward into the next section, there's a couple of beds, a place to eat, etc. The best way I've found to actually get to the cockpit is by going into the cargo hold right off of the habitation section and go up this ladder. Now move to the back of the ship and you'll enter the center hallway. One side leads to the tractor beam station I mentioned, and the other to the cockpit. There's a lot more to see in a Drake Caterpillar, like the 2 turrets, the engine room, etc. But for today's cargo video, you really just need to be able to find your way to the cockpit. Okay, so that's the nickel tour of the ships I think work well for running cargo. They have access to during the free fly. Now let's talk trade routes for each of them and try a few out. Again, we'll start small and go from there. So let's look at the MISC Freelancer. The best route I've found is up on Microtech at Shubin SMO 18. We'll be trading in gold, which has become the latest hotness for light and medium freight ships. It can also be found at Shubin SCD-1 on Daymar, around Crusader, but I've discovered that between all the pirate activity and the slower respawn rate, Microtech is the better choice, I think. The location also has the added benefit of having both the buying and selling locations on Microtech, making for very short runs. You should be able to complete 2 runs an hour depending on how lucky you are in being able to buy the gold from SMO 18. You may need to camp on the trade terminal waiting for enough to fill the Freelancer, but 2 batches of gold should do it. Once we've loaded up, we need to head on over to New Babbage. and land outside the commons. You can certainly land in a hangar at the spaceport. No shame in that, but then you have to check in your ship and take the monorail to the commons, so I just park out here. Once inside, we head on over to the local Trade and Development Division. Make sure to stop by and treat yourself to a purple smoothie on the way. Now off to the TDD to pick a terminal to sell our gold. Not bad, that's like 102,000 credits with a starter ship. Meanwhile, back on Hurston, let's talk about the Mercury Star Runner. One option you have is the gold run we just made with the Freelancer. Another is drugs. There's definite risk involved because other players are trying to buy drugs too, and you can't just camp on a trade terminal waiting for your next shipment of slam to show up. Anyway, let's go to Jumptown on Yella. It's an unmarked location, so it's less likely to have visitors, unlike many of the other drug labs. It's also pretty easy to find. Just go to OM5 around Yella, find Tellerine Divide AIDS Shelter, and make it horizontal with this other location. Look up between them for this 3 ridge mountain range and drive towards the one on the left. It'll take a while to get there even in the MSR. Once you're in the general vicinity, get down to around 1 kilometer off the ground and start looking around for the lab. I'm not going to fill the MSR. Drugs shouldn't be treated like a high volume commodity unless you're feeling really lucky. And it never hurts to bring a gun with you. What we're looking to buy is primarily Slam and Widow. I'm only going to load up the MSR with around 50 SCU worth. Once I have that much, I bolt. Now I figure I've got another 10 minutes before the next drug delivery, so I go sit in my ship and monitor the scope for any incoming ships. If anything does show up, I take that as a sign and go off and sell whatever I have so far.
5 minutes later.
Okay, that's a nice amount, about half full, so we'll call it here and head to a location that will buy our drugs. There are 4 good spots to sell at. Basically, each planet has a scrapyard nearby with a no questions asked terminal. The one closest to us is Brio's Breaker Yard on Daymar. So let's go pay old Scooter a visit. Usually if there's one ship in the vicinity, I'm okay, but when I start seeing an entire fleet, I suck it up and go to a different scrapyard. There's one on Hurston, which is my personal fave, and backup for Daymar, Walla, and Uturb. I like it because I rarely see anyone there, and it's the opposite of remote, being located right down the street from the capital of Hurston, Lorville. Once you're there, just find this building. It's generally located in the center of the scrapyard. So we make our sale and earned almost 180,000 credits. Not bad really, just kinda risky as everywhere we went, someone could be shooting at us. And finally, let's talk about the Drake Caterpillar. Heavy freight ships like this, the Hercules C2 Starlifter and Anvil Carrack, tailor-made for Beryl. There are 2 buying locations I like for this. Shubin SMO-22 on Microtech, which is the cheapest, and HDMS Woodruff on Ida, which is the closest to Lorville. In either case, we'll be selling at the Central Business District in Lorville on Hurston, as that's where you'll be able to sell at the highest price. Flying the Drake Caterpillar is definitely a skill in and of itself. Basically, it is a flying brick and is just god-awful in atmosphere. Be prepared for an interesting flying experience the first time you take the cat out for a spin. So if you're willing to fly out of Microtech, you'll earn an additional 44,000 credits, but you have to quantum to Hurston for several minutes, whereas the trip from Ida is just a few seconds. The biggest problem with Beryl, though, is the investment you need to make. To fill a cat, it will cost you 1.3 million credits. That's an awful lot to put on the line for several minutes. And most folks may not even have that much to invest. But once you get to that point, there's no reason why you can certainly earn close to $500,000 an hour running Beryl with the cat. So those are my top suggestions for trade routes with freely available ships for the next several days. I would strongly urge you to take advantage of Cloud Imperium Games' generosity and make as much money as you can. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Scrapjet out.